Well, let's get a reaction to the latest downgrade. We're joined by Denisa Baloyi of the Black Business Council. President, of course, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Your reaction to yet another downgrade?
Well, it can't be good news for us as South Africa. But at the same time, I worry about the predictions. We are a stable democracy, and I think today, my birthday, is another demonstration. Thank you. It's another demonstration of a vibrant democracy, where people went out and, barring one or two skirmishes, people were allowed to demonstrate and to make their point known very firmly on both sides of the divide. And I think that bodes well for South Africa, that we are able to withstand that.
But I also the rating agencies are being unfair.
I think they are a little bit harsh, because when S&P downgraded us, they didn't go as far as Fitch has gone today. It was like, what, all of 2 minutes of the new ministers being in place. They haven't been given a chance to perform, to see if there's going to be a policy shift. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not that pessimistic in the outlook of South Africa going forward. I believe that some of those ministers that are there, tried and tested, they are people that people who have been in government, people either as deputy ministers or being responsible for other portfolios. So I'm not as edgy as I would have been had it been new people, untried, untested. I feel a little bit more comfortable that it's new people. So I think it's harsh, particularly that it's more based not on our fiscal steadiness as a nation, but on political basis. S&P was very clear about that the political outlook was not very good. So, having lived in the United States, I know that the U.S. at the moment has a president that many people don't like, but the outlook from S&P is not the same. We've had Brexit, and they haven't downgraded the UK. So I'm saying horses for courses here. I have no doubt that, we could be facing challenges, but are we as bad as we're being portrayed to be? That's what I'm battling with, being in business. Will it affect us? I think it will affect us as a nation, particularly businesses, particularly the poor. What I would be worried about if there was a shift in terms of how we run our businesses, if our institutions across the board, whether public or private, began to disintegrate, and we find ourselves no longer respecting the 3 tiers of government, not respecting the judiciary, not respecting the power of parliament, not respecting the executive. So those, to me, are quite important. If we lowered governance in our institution, if our people started to behave like renegades, where the rule of law is no longer observed, then I would be very, very worried, and I would align myself with the rating agencies and the toughness with which they've descended on us.
Isn't their concern valid? Why do we need to change a crucial ministry if somebody is performing well? Why do we need, in a crucial ministry, to have 4 people in a matter of 2 years when you need somebody to really get on top of that job? And we have to talk about the former Minister, Pravin Gordhan, because it was an open secret that you didn't really trust him as the BBC, and he didn't trust you. What does that mean when you looked at the cabinet reshuffle? Did you welcome it?
I think you are not portraying us very positively. We had points of departure. We had differences that we sat around the table, former Minister.
Didn't you say he was
Gordon.
blocking radical economic transformation?
We actually felt that he didn't take black business seriously. We actually felt that in many instances, our voices were not heard. But we sat around the table and came up with a timetable and processes of how we were going to change that. We never played the man, we played the ball, in the sense that we pointed out things that were not working for us. Here, radical economic transformation you've mentioned. If we look at ourselves as black business, being where we were in 1994, not having moved much, it is important for us to represent the aspiration and the concerns that were raised by, that keep on getting raised by our members. And those to us, celebrate the change. I think you are going a little bit too far. In our view, we look at the changes. You and me have no control over that. It's a constitutional mandate that the president has. Beyond his putting together ministers, we look forward to who has been put in place. Are we going to be able to work with them? The same way as we engaged former Minister Gordon in making sure that there are processes put in place, because, for instance, our bone of contention was that most of the things that bedevil black business, like the PPPFMA, he was responsible for. And we were saying, Minister, you are
explain
saying
what that is?
Yes, the Preferential Procurement Act, for instance, says, I can, as a black person, I compete with a big company on an 80-20 or 90-10 point of view. I always equate it with you saying I must run the race with Wade van Niekerk. There's no way I can win, because he trains every day. He started when he was young. Now I have to come in and compete with Wade. I lose the race. So that's what we are talking about. We also raised the issue of the 30% that the president had announced, that 30% set aside for emerging business, for black business, for small business, and the majority of our members. But from Treasury came wherever possible. You understand? So wherever possible, if feasible, means the big company can decide whether or not they can. They would say it's not feasible. I can tell you, I've sat on many boards. Some of the companies would say, well, if we do it that way, if we help small business here, it means we have to forego some of the profits here. So it might never be feasible for some companies. So we felt it's either 30% or no 30%, because if you give that rider, most people will take. So those are some of the things that impact directly on us. And we also felt that with small business, the budget was too small. We fought hard to get the Ministry for Small Business, and but it's still hovering under 4 billion. Could we do more? Is there a way in which we could come with a proposal that would say, let us take the building of small business very seriously? And we think he is powerful. He chairs the CEO's Forum, and we sit there as well. That's a powerful body. And I think being co-chair of that body, the Minister of Finance could help drive transformation within those institutions. And I'm still hopeful that that could happen, because we live and we hope that things will change. But we are not so gloomy in terms of looking at the new ministers, because from the beginning of their democracy, President Mandela reshuffled, President Mbeki reshuffled, etc., etc.
We have to end it there. I have so many more questions for you. I wish we didn't, but thank you so much for your
thank you for having us
to the Fitch downgrade today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Denise Baloyi, President of the Black Business Council.